So hey all, welcome to 2025. Uh, I am doing okay so far. These are my new glasses, which I just picked up a couple of days ago. I kind of like them because they're like thinner wireframes than the last ones. Plus also it's nice that they don't have the coating scratching off, which I think was what the problem was with the last pair. It had been a while since I'd gotten a pair of glasses. But new glasses and trying to focus on what my agenda is for this year, because this is definitely going to be the year that I finally get something out. It was supposed to have been last year, but things got delayed because I ended up doing more edits than I expected. But I think in the long run it paid off to its benefit, so it was worth it, and maybe I'll be working it into my plans going forward. I think that the more that time passes, the more I kind of realize that, um, obsessing about or focusing on arbitrary progress markers ends up working against me, and that I seem to do best when I just work on, do this for like an hour and don't worry about it being where it needs to be yet. And just so you get it down, and instead of tweaking it at the time, it's part of the process later. um, with playing video games, I've kind of been trying to do the same thing, that when I play the game and I just kind of enjoy it rather than focusing on making progress every time I turn the game on, I think that I ended up making more progress than if I just focus on blowing through the story rather than taking time and just like sitting and leveling up sometimes and just kind of enjoying the ride. So we'll see if that helps. I have been motivated to get a couple of things done on a personal level. I'm trying to update, my book copyright and my citizenship document, and assuming those go well, I have only one other thing I have to update, and then from there we will see what happens. But at least I'll get some of these things hopefully crossed off the list. I did the best I could. I think I did it correctly. Fingers crossed that everything was done the right way. Because some of these processes are very expensive to make the attempt, and hopefully I won't have to make some of them more than once, but we'll find out. Just wish me luck, fingers crossed, and I'll let you know what happens when I know. In terms of writing news, right now I have been working on Winterfall 3. Um, I have finished all the work I planned to do on 1. I've done the best I can do with it. I could probably keep messing with it until, goodness knows, until the sun goes nova and the solar system is sucked up in a cloud of whatever. But I have to move on. It's like I was ready to move on a year ago. I'm really ready to move on now. So it's done. It's going to be published, and that's going to be that. So we're going to move on from Winterfall 1, and I'm going to start working on edits for Winterfall 2, and possibly another project that I might have some people look at if I feel brave enough to do that. There's some stuff that I already know is going to need some edits in Winterfall 2. Um, just like in hindsight slash experience gain. So there is some areas I'm going to concentrate on. A lot of it I think is okay, but I don't know. I mean, I never know, because when you give it to people for feedback, different people see different things, and sometimes it's major, sometimes it's not, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of hard to know, when you hit the sweet spot, so to speak. Maybe there is no sweet spot, but anyway, I'm gonna be working on that for at least a little while until either something else clicks or I get inspiration for one of the other projects I'm trying to get off the ground, because I'd like to get into a somewhat regular cycle. But in order to do that, I have to get a lot more stuff in place. I need to get a handle on what I do have ready and what I can sort of work on in the meantime. I mean, I'm trying to not jump projects too much, because that usually ends up me doing like, if I try to do too many things at once, I get nothing done, sort of thing. So whatever I want to do, I want to try and keep it somewhat limited. Also, just because I only have a certain amount of time, every week to work on my stuff. So for right now, the plan is to work a little bit, work on Winterfall 3, and kind of get that going as progressing as time goes, and just kind of work on any existing projects that I know are in a good state of at least first draftitude, just to get them to the point where it's just like, okay, here's the finished manuscript, what needs to be fixed, and things of that nature. As far as video news, most of it's probably going to be editing today. Obviously, as per usual, I'm doing a vlog. And let's see. Other than that, I know I have some book reviews to edit. I'm still working on the script for a Changeling Tale, so be on the lookout for that if that interests you. It'll probably be my first video game review that I'm gonna attempt to do. Uh, because most of the time I just had never figured out, and I'm sure it's probably easier than I'd imagine, or maybe other people might be more swift with this stuff than I am, but. Um, recording like video game footage, it's like I haven't quite mastered that part yet. I'm not really much of a VTuber. I don't know how that works yet either. So I haven't really forayed too much into focusing on reviewing furry video games or video games at all. Just because the attempts, well, what I was originally trying to do hadn't worked too well, and or would have been too time consuming for its own benefit. So it's just like it just wasn't working out. But I do plan to do this video review, and we'll see how things go from there. Um, I may, when I am so inclined, go back through a couple of VNs that I've played and just kind of do reviews of those as well. Just because, if nothing else, I'm sure there aren't many of them. And also, second, I think that maybe VNs might be easier for me to review because it's mostly, screenshots and such, rather than actually trying to capture footage. But I don't know. I mean, I might try that at some point once if I can ever figure out how to reliably capture video game footage and figure out how to utilize it. But I don't know. It's also I'm always uh, concerned about using like external content, which I know is not necessarily a problem legally speaking when you're doing like a review or something, because you're adding content, you're adding value to it, and you're not just posting somebody else's content on your channel. So it's not so much that, but it's also just kind of wanting to be able to, I guess, present something well. Maybe some people might not think that I do, but I mean, I think I do all right. And it's like I do what I can do with the resources I have, and that's really all that there is to it. That's all I need to do. I mean, maybe there's just probably a bunch of people that are way more, have way more production value than I do, but it's like, this is what you get. But anyway, I'm gonna move on from that. Let's see, books I'm reading right now. I'm still reading a few books. I'm reading three furry books at this time. Far Flung by Utunu, which so far has been a really good book. I've it's a new world, a different setting from his last project, and I mean so far I'm still trying to get the hang of the formatting for the telepathic psionic communication. Um, but for the most part, it's been fun to read, and I'm trying to stretch it out and enjoy it and see where it goes, because I'm not exactly sure where it's headed, but that's in a good way. I usually like a little bit of mystery in the books that I read, but so far it's going pretty well. I like the characters that they've introduced so far, and it's been kind of what I would call, I mean, I would say Utunu writes what I would call low-key adventures. It's like not, there are stakes, but they're not like huge global event kind of things. They're just kind of like people's lives and just what's going on in them, which I mean is good. It's like it's kind of a chill book to read, and so far I've been really enjoying the interaction. But let's see. I'm also still reading Prisoner of Midnight. I'm about halfway through that one. It's the second book in I don't even know if it has an official name to it. The Prisoners trilogy, maybe, but the I think the third book is the Visitors, and I don't know if it really counts as a trilogy yet or not. I'm a little unclear on that. But of course, as usual, Royce writes some interesting stuff that I can never really predict what is going to be whipped out next. But it's like I like I like the style. Usually, it's entertaining. Usually, he has some really good dialogue that kind of has in an in-universe flavor. I'll say he does that very well. Because and it's something that I notice particularly with some authors over others. But all three of the ones I'm reading right now have done a really good job of just kind of like having the story kind of feel like it belongs in the world where it's set. Through what they say, through what they do, through how they say it. All these other kinds of things. It's just all stuff that feels like it belongs in the setting. It kind of enhances the setting that it's in. So, Prisoner of Midnight is a short project, but I think it'll be good. And I've been enjoying it so far. I'm definitely curious where it's going because the ending matters a lot to me in most of these kinds of projects. Everything I'm reading, it's like if the ending's good, the story is usually pretty good because you want the ending to be good because this is what you spent the whole book trying to get to. Um, I would also say I'm reading Come to Dust by Tiberius Rings, and so far that's been a fun book to read. It's um, I guess I would say it's about a chimney sweep in London, uh, back when they had those sorts of things. And it's so far I'd say it's been endearing. I like the characters. The story hasn't really gotten too far yet because I'm only about 4 or 5 chapters in, but it's entertaining, and the characters seem to gel well. And there'll be I guess I've probably got relatively enough to start working on a preliminary script for the review. And but so far I'd say that it's coming along well. And if it does, if I like the first book and this, so far indications are positive, I may continue with the series. We'll see because it's supposed to be a trilogy. Um, the only other thing let's see, I guess, I mean, that's it for right now. I know that both Far Flung and Prisoner of Midnight have, no wait, Come to Dust and Prisoner of Midnight have follow-ups. I do already have the Visitors, but as usual, when I finish Prisoners of Midnight, I'm going to take a break and read something else that's not Royce's, and then I'll come back to Visitors when I'm so inclined. After a break, because it's like I like to have some space, have something different between authors. I don't like to read the same author 2 books in a row, just for variety's sake, and just to kind of mix it up because of course, y'all know if you watch any of my reviews that I do. I try and do the reviews more or less. At least I work on them. Maybe not release them, but I work on them in the order that I read them. And I don't want to be doing like 3 Kill Gold books in a row, or 3 Royce Day books in a row. It's like I like to kind of mix it up a little bit. I think it works better for everybody. But that's the plan. It's like once I finish Far Flung, I don't know what I'm gonna read yet, but most likely it'll be one of the furry books that I have uh, sitting on my pile. I still have Off the Beaten Path, which I should probably read. I think I have oh yeah, I have that other Kel Gold book to read, The Time He Desires, and probably one of those because that's Far Flung is a physical book, so I'm probably gonna read a physical book afterwards from that same pile. And Prisoner of Midnight, when I finish Prisoner of Midnight, most likely it'll be one of 3 books. I either need to read Jay Stout's Reborn. I either might read Maddie's Koheleth. I could be completely mispronouncing that. I do not know how to say that word. And there's also at least a couple of books that were recommended to me by authors that I do not believe are part of the Fireplace. Uh, Something called A New Life, that I saw on FA an ad or something possibly that was recommended to me by one of the people that I was reviewing somebody else's book, and they suggested I might like it. So we'll see. But there's a lot of options. Regardless, what I end up reading, I will let you all know. And let's see. As far as right now, I'm kind of enjoying various games, and I've been playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm about halfway through it, I think. Hopefully, I'm going to beat it this time. The first time I played it, I got to the end and I got stuck, and then I just kind of felt like there wasn't any real way to keep leveling or something, or that I had kind of locked myself into being stuck. And especially now, it's been a couple of years, so I'm starting over again from the beginning. I'm also playing Trails of Cold Steel 4. Apparently, the last time I played it was quite a while ago, at least a year. And apparently, I originally started the game in like 2022 or something. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing. But I've been playing this game series from the beginning, probably for about 10 years now, and I still haven't finished the set. Now, in fairness, a lot of them had long breaks between them because they are long games in itself, but each game is like 60 to 100 hours game time. And then on top of that, breaks in between and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, in actuality, I probably could have finished it in probably like 6 years. But, I like to have variety. And plus, I've had a lot of, other things getting in the way. But at least now I'm kind of enjoying just getting back into it, getting the story moving again. And once I finish Trails of Cold Steel, I will have Trails of Reverie. So, I have lots of stuff to play, lots of stuff to enjoy. So there is things to be done. Um, but for right now, it's like I've got my little stack of games, and once I finish some of those, I will probably work on other ones. And much like the games, the books that I'm reading, and the stuff that I'm watching, and all that stuff, it's like I'm obsessing less about making progress, rushing through any of these things, and just kind of enjoying the ride as I get to them. And as that happens, then, new things take their place, and so on and so forth. I'm still working on the perfect balance, so to speak, for lack of a more precise word, but the balance seems to work pretty well for me because, I try to keep a good variety of the old and the new, a good variety of the things I am enjoying watching, and kind of just letting it flow, and just enjoying everything. And let's see. I guess that's about it. I do at some point need to finish up getting the script for Voice of Dog ready for Royce's story, and I also need to select another one to release and then start the whole release cycle again. I clearly haven't gotten that part down yet, but it's a lot of focus work that I need to kind of find a spot for. It's all just coming along, but it's coming along slowly. But eventually, I'll get into a rhythm, and once I do, it'll be easier to click into. But anyway, that's it for now, and I will catch you all in a couple weeks.
If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. See you next time.